Um, welcome to Tequila with Tiffany. It is the place where every single week you and I are going to have a check on where is our money, where is our business, where is our mindset. Think of it as like the mental workout for the week, because I tell you, you get to a point in a day where you're like, oh my gosh, I just need a moment. This is going to be the time where you and I take a moment. I Let me do some housekeeping before we even get started. First, I need to know what you're drinking, and I'm going to ask you that again and again. So please put your drink in the chat, in the comments. I want to see it. The second thing I'm going to say is you're hearing some music. No, that is not a ghost. It is not something happening around you. We are legit next to a club and there's a whole party happening. Now, if you hear the music, you'll be like, what kind of party is that? Blah. It's not a party I would attend, but it's a party. And there are people there and they are doing a little something. I don't even know if they know about this right here, but they're doing something. I also, third, last but definitely not least, I have a guest with me, and I want you to welcome the Matt Gil.
Dun 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 dun. Hello.
I asked Matt to come and talk with me and to be here with me in Tequila with Tiffany. I've been knee deep inside of one of the companies that are in front of me. It's called Do the Damn Thing Productions, and it's a production company that I opened about a year ago, maybe about two and a half years ago to the public, but it's been in operation for about 4 or 5 years. And I went through a day here at the studio, just walking through challenges and excitements and long sighs and silent cuss words. And I was like, you know what? This is going to be the perfect thing for me to teach you. This message is for the person who feels like they have been in the middle of something for a long time and the middle just doesn't seem to stop. This is for the person who has been here. Hello, how you doing? How you doing, hot mama? Glad to see you. This message is for the person who's in the middle and you have gotten discouraged. You have eaten a I'm discouraged pill. You are thinking to yourself, man, oh man, I'm doing something wrong. I'm going to tell you the amount of times in the last 5 years I've done something wrong that doesn't work. The amount of times I've had someone say, oh, but you should see such and such as. Let me tell you, I've not taken as many deep sighs as I have this week. I'm going to walk us through what do you have to where should your mind be for the next 7 days? And I just want to have an open conversation before I get too far about what can you do right now to reset yourself and repace yourself. So I'm going to ask Matt before I say anything else. Thank you so much. I appreciate you saying that, Kathleen. I'm going to drink to you, Kathleen. So today we're not drinking tequila, and I think we have to make a change here on Tequila with Tiffany. Somehow we end up with random bottles that are not tequila, and I think somewhat like there is a conversation to be had. I'm going to have my first drink for tonight is going to be to Kathleen. Somewhere here is an opportunity for you to ask us a question, figure out what the hell we're doing. And it is more importantly a moment for you and me to talk about the truth of what's happening, make some new decisions. How do you reset yourself when everything feels like it's going wrong? I'm going to ask Matt. So Matt, before I even say anything, Kathleen, this is to you. Cheers.
Cheers.
How do you reset yourself? Is it easy to reset yourself?
Yikes. Resetting yourself. I don't know how many times, I wish I had a dollar for every time that I've had to do some form of reset or recharge or any of the re's.
Any of the re's.
Any of the
That,
re's.
Matt.
Like recharge, reset,
rethink,
rejuvenate, review,
recenter.
Yes.
Reestablish. Do you have any other re's?
There's so many times where I think part of the reset process comes with reevaluation. Like your reset requires you to stop and to be still and be like, what the?
Your reset requires you to be still.
Mm-hmm.
I think when you say your reset, you mean like when you get smacked on your butt?
Yes.
And yeah, because I was like the reset. I was like, that means you hit a wall, you bleeding. You hit a wall, you bleeding, and you're
Right.
like, I want to go home.
But even when you have like an idea or something that you're building, and you all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, this is not giving us the results that we thought we were going to be getting.
Correct.
Like you have to stop for a minute and review before you can reset.
Say that again.
And I think that's actually the process that we've been in, and really reviewing our processes, our systems, our dollars, like all of the different things that have moved into what we're building.
Yep.
We've had to pause for a moment and review and take a look at what worked, what do we love, what do we not like.
I think you're right, because it's not like really that we were not smacked on our butt. Well, I guess we were in some aspects, but like we made a decision to sit down and review.
Correct.
Because we could have just restarted.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like sometimes you get smacked on your butt and then you make the mistake. I feel like you make the mistake of going, oh, let me just go back to whatever it was. Let me pick up where I left off. And so all of your energy and effort is like, let me figure out that. July was a month for me where I was smacked on my butt. And I don't think I realized it until then, but it is. And I wasn't like, let me go and da-da-da-da. It was like, right. I said to a client yesterday, and you know which one I'm talking about. I said to her yesterday, I was like, you know what? Let me tell you something. I know this is going to sound crazy, but you're like, every time I hear you, it's something like, oh, but such and such happened, and those people, and I gave them money, and they did it, and this, that. And I'm like, yeah, but it's all your fault. Like, it's you. And I'm like, I could sit here and tell everybody why this and this didn't happen for our company, the product, but it's me. Like I like taking ownership for where I am. And I think that's that reevaluation process.
And that's the part that most people don't want.
They don't.
It's so much easier to blame everything on the outside.
Totally.
Versus actually stopping and being like, wait, what part did I play in this mess?
Anyone else ever feel like that? That you're like, what part did I play or don't I play?
Yeah.
What's the first thing that you do? Like when you realize, or even in this process, and you say, okay, we're going to reevaluate. Is a reevaluation is not thinking about it in your head nonstop by yourself. Because if you think about it in your head,
you're going in circles.
You're going to go in circles. So if you reevaluate, you're like, I need time to think about it, or I'm going to reevaluate. Some portion of it is on your own, but I believe the majority of it is external.
It's really taking a look at what are to your point, the external things that are either distracting or keeping you further away from, or like what resources have you not accessed yet?
Or have you not put in?
Yes.
One of the things that this client said to me, she was like, I had you, and then I listened to 400 other people. Like I listened to this, I listened to that, I listened to all these other things. And I thought to myself, man, what do you mean you included 45 other items? Why would you go and include 45 other items when we already built the strategy for you? And I know that was hard for her to hear. And of course she was like, oh, well, this excuse, that excuse. But I'm like, here's the thing. The number one problem when you're in the middle or when you get smacked on your butt, the dumbest move is to go and find a new voice to feed your ear.
Right. Because you haven't fixed the problem.
You haven't looked at what it was.
Right. You haven't gone through, and all you're doing is you're trying to, it's just like when a child
totally
is going through and they want something, right? They'll go to the parent that they know is going to give them the response that they want.
Say that.
And if they don't get it from one, if mom's like, no, then I'm going to go to dad and I'm going to ask dad. Or like it's the same way when we are in a situation that we don't like or we're hurting. We go to the person that we know is going to be like, oh, I get it. I understand. In most cases,
if not,
we go to the person that's going to still coddle, or it's going to be
present an easier, less abrasive.
Correct.
Less the response I don't want.
Right.
It's no different. And I hate to use strategy and coaching, but I'm really thinking about this client because she heard a coin. What do you call it? Flashy thing, the flashy syndrome.
The shiny, ooh shiny. I think I call it ooh shiny. I have ooh shiny all the time. Ooh shiny.
Let me have a sip to that because it is the internal. Let me tell you, I made a decision to do this Tequila with Tiffany because we have been probably 25, 30 hours inside of a situation here. Not a problem with a client, but what started as a couple of questions last week turned out to be, oh my gosh, the world is bleeding underneath me and I didn't even know. That's how I felt. And it caused me to cancel my plans for Friday night, cancel my plans for Saturday. And I came and sat in the studio by myself Friday night, Saturday night. Oh, Saturday, I wasn't by myself. Matt was here for a couple hours with me. Then Sunday, I was here by myself. EO came with me as I sift through this problem. And I'm like, it's not a problem that has a time clock, but it's a problem that has a time clock because of the commitment that I made to where I want to get to. I told everybody this crazy idea that I wanted to get to Wembley. And it's like, we have these dreams, we have these ideas, and we say them to people, and then they become wind. I refuse to let Wembley become wind. So on Friday night, when I felt the anger, upset, not hurt, but like, oh my gosh, I said, you know what? I'm going to take my own deep breath. And I am going to take a day or two to not internalize it, but to review by myself. Here's the first part of the review. You have to do it on paper. So I pulled out sheets of paper, which is what all those sheets of papers are. That's me literally reworking math, reworking things, looking at notes. I had brought my old notebooks from last year, started reading my notes. What did I write down? What was the map? What was the essence of that meeting?
Right.
Like all the boring stuff. And I feel like too many people don't want to do the boring stuff in the middle of what's not working. So I sat down for the whole week and did the boring stuff. And then Monday I came prepared. I came prepared because I'm like, okay, great. I don't have everything, but I'm damn near closer than I was 3 to 4 days ago.
Right.
And then I'm like, okay, now I need to do the other part of the review, and it's out loud.
Right.
The reason why you do it out loud is because other people can check you. It's hard though. It's hard to be checked out loud.
It's hard to analyze, to look at yourself and really see the truth of what has happened.
You know what? Let me cheers to that. It is hard to look at yourself and see the truth. If you understood that, can you just say, see the truth right now in the chat? This is Tequila with Tiffany. If you're here, this is the place where every single week, my goal is to make sure that there is a place where you can reset your mind, your objectives, what comes next. I'm going to be teaching from a current state, which means whatever is happening right now as I scale, not just one company, but multiple ideas focused on one vision, one objective, one mission. And how I'm trying to, and me getting it done in this lifetime while we're all still alive, so we can actually see it and touch it and lick it.
Or as the song goes, slap it, flip it, rub it down. Oh no!
Seeing the truth is the hard. Listen, did you hear what he said? Seeing the truth of yourself is the hardest part of it.
But that's also where the breakthrough is, and where if anything is going to change, it's going to start with you.
If anything's going to change, it's always going to start with you. This weekend on hour 20 on the weekend, I was like, oh, let me take my cheers to what Matt said to see the truth. Cheers to you, Matt.
Cheers.
Oh my gosh, Tito got something to say. I didn't even think Tito was respected or involved. Kathleen, did you ever know that Tito could be around? Anybody know that Tito? Anybody have an idea?
Even baby Tito.
Even baby Tito. We have some respect for baby Tito. Let me tell you the difference between big boy Tito and baby Tito. Baby Tito was in the fridge.
Right.
Baby Tito was in the fridge. So I'm in the studio here in the Do the Damn Thing production studio. I have been probably 30, 40 hours in the last 3 days just trying to figure something out. Today, I feel like I had my biggest breakthrough. I'm giving you the map because I don't know where you are, but I do know that if you're kind of saying to yourself, think I'm uncertain, I don't know, I need more time, I need some help, can someone shine a light? I feel like I've been doing this. Even if you're like, I have been doing this thing, but I'm not where I want to be. First, after asking questions, I took it all in, and then I said, I gotta take time. If I had just paced the floor at my house, I would have been lost. I paced the floor, but then I went back to sit down in the chair to look at the facts and the data. This is no different than the person who's about to file for bankruptcy, but never opens their bank account. You never look and check any of the above. Then after looking at just data, numbers, facts, I was like, okay, I then came and I brought myself and whatever I had at that moment to a public place. My public place for me on Monday morning at 8:30 in the morning was the production team. And I was sitting, I wasn't sitting, I was standing, and I was going through the motions of what I had learned, saw, the data I found, the details, all of the above. And then I said to myself, okay, now what? So the importance of being with other people is that you're going to get the mirror in your face, whether it's something you like or something you don't like. I needed to be prepared to have what I didn't like and what I did like. So I got the mirror, and every idea that I came to kind of said, well, I'm going to have to start doing some of the things I don't enjoy doing in order to get the outcome that I wanted. And at that time, anybody ever been there? You ever been to a place where you're like, man, I got to start doing something, but I really don't want to do the thing that I know is going to fix the problem. Like anyone else ever been there? Has anyone ever been there?
Yep. And like, especially when it comes around like numbers, for me, we've had this conversation all week long.
What do you mean? Numbers are your favorite thing, Matt?
Give me words, give me feelings, give me letters. But when you start getting into the numbers, it's like wah, wah, wah.
So I started getting into this data, and I realized that I knew the answer to a massive problem. This is not a little problem. And this problem is not a today. It's a 20 days ago, 40 days ago. It just shows up. So everybody has the same problems and shows up in different ways. But it's the same problem at the core. And I knew what the problem was. So I looked at it and I was like, oh, I got to fix this thing. And you know what I did first? Instead of trying to fix this thing by myself, guess what I did? I was like, I'm not going to fix this thing by myself. I made a call that makes me uncomfortable. I was like, what will keep me not accountable, but what will make me the most uncomfortable right now and put me in the hot seat? I made a call, I feel like to big guns, but I made a call, and the call was nothing more than to say, hi, such and such and such, and for me to explain why I need your help. And instead of saying I need your help indefinitely, I needed to ask for help, but I asked for it for 6 weeks. I needed someone else to come into one of these one of these companies, and to be not a voice, but to be a hammer, and more importantly, to be a snake sliding through everything that we have in this specific area so that I get an answer. And then also to hold me like this, so that way I can't move in the process until I, who hold the keys to everything else, gets it done. I'm sharing that because it's easy in moments like this to go, you know what? I know what I'm going to do. I know exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to get comfortable. I'm going to go home. I'm going to do what's easier. I'm going to go back to what I was doing before. I've had that thought many times. Not this year, but in my lifetime, where you're like, what I was doing before was easier. It wasn't as hard. It wasn't this and this. It didn't create this kind of stress. I didn't have this many da 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 da. But you know what I learned? And I'm clear that that I wasn't given the vision for me to not give birth to it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also crazy clear that it is so the things that make me go flip. It's because I give birth to this thing and I disrupt so many other things. So of course, there's going to be a road that is not traveled, a road that is not clear, a road that is uncomfortable, a road that is unfriendly sometimes.
A lot of times we are more committed to our familiar uncomfortable than we are to the discomfort of the unfamiliar.
Yes, it's like when you're in that relationship that's no good.
Yes. You know what to expect, even though you don't like it, you're not happy, you're not getting the results that you want. You know what to expect, and you become it's familiarity. And so you operate and you stay in that space.
Why do you think people do that? And I want everybody to know, Matt needed this time just as much as I did.
Oh, yes.
Oh yes.
Oh, yes.
So why do you think that is, Matt? I'm just curious. Like, why do you think people are like that?
Part of it is it's quote easier because you know what to do, you know how to operate, you know where your boundaries are.
Or you feel like humans just don't do well when they don't know how to operate? Could that be it? Or something like that?
Yeah.
Like I know how, like, how do they used to say it back in the day? Like, I know this demon, I may not know the next demon.
Correct.
So I rather this demon.
Because I know how to fight it. I know how to take care of it. I know what it's going to do. Like you have boundaries. You have a window. Whereas when you open up to possibility, when you open up to something different, there are so many factors. And I think really what a big part of it is control. Because even when you feel like you don't have control, you're still in control.
You know what? Latoya just said it. Latoya, this is for you. It is easier. Tell the people, Latoya. That's exactly what I was trying to say. She nailed it. It is absolutely easier, right, Kathleen? Right? Like, isn't it, guys? It's easier to dance with the devil that you know than to dance with the devil that you don't know. Because you're like, because you know what? I feel like there's a level of, well, I already know that I can perform at that level.
Yes.
Like I can meet that. But right, Latoya, isn't it like that you're like, oh, but what if I can't meet the next level?
Yep.
And then like something goes wrong, it doesn't work out, you F it up.
But if you really look at, like, you also have to look at how our minds work. So our minds are.
Latoya, I'm drinking to you right now. I just want you to,
there you
Latoya,
go.
I was like, you know what? Did everybody hear what Latoya just said?
Cheers.
Cheers. Ma'am. That's exactly it. Ma'am. Sorry. Continue,
nope.
sir.
No, you got to have your cheers. You got to drink.
Cheers.
There you
Latoya, this is for you, mama. Cheers.
So our minds are designed to protect us. Our bodies are designed to, just for the same reason, like when you touch something hot once, your body, the next time you're going to remember, you're going to have a new reaction to that heat. When we get into a relationship and we get hurt and they break our heart.
Totally.
We don't want to get in another relationship because we don't want to get hurt.
And then
again.
We stay away from a relationship for 15 years.
Correct. We start a business and the business fails. So we're like, I'm not going to have a business anymore. I'm not going to give it another try.
I had a best friend. I used to have a best friend, but she slept with my husband, or she burned me, or she talks stuff about me. So I don't keep no one close.
Exactly.
I don't have a best friend anymore.
And our minds won't,
anytime
we begin to say, you know what? Okay, I'm going to give this a try. I'm going to allow myself to go on a date. And then all this nervousness, our conversations in our mind are talking about, like, why are you going to do that? The last one didn't work. Now you're going to go out and try and you're going to get hurt again. Our minds are looking for evidence.
Say that.
And so when we see, yes,
they're looking for us so that date goes like, it's like a level B. And then they're like, I knew I shouldn't have gone on this date.
Exactly.
I knew I wasted that time.
Exactly.
How did you just frame it? Didn't he frame it perfectly? Did you guys hear that? My body, my mind is looking for proof.
It's looking for proof. It's looking for evidence, which is why celebration is so important in your life.
Can you just put the word celebrate? Where's my phone? I'm going to put that word right now, because you know what? Like, can everyone put the word celebrate? I'm going to put it for myself right now, because you know what's true? I realized that this week has been heavy. Mm-hmm. I've had multiple heavy weeks. This week has been heavy in our company. Mm-hmm. And I have not celebrated anything. Mm. I haven't. I have not celebrated anything. I've highlighted the positive. Mm-hmm. I have not.
A big difference.
Correct.
Big difference. A highlight is like, okay, we did this. But a celebration is very intentional of stopping and saying, you know what? We have done some dope shit. We have done this. And the journey that it took just to complete that, like actually going through, just like when you go to court. What do? You bring evidence.
Wait a second. This guy said we coming to court?
Listen, when you go to court.
That's how you had to bring this
in? Listen, we in the hood. We in the streets. We in the do the damn thing streets. What you talking about? When we go to court, what do we bring?
Who's going to court, Matt? You want to talk after the episode? What's wrong with you?
We have to find evidence within our brain. Think of your mind as like a file cabinet.
He is correct, though.
And so when we have a new idea, or we want to build something different, or we want to go into this relationship, or we want to have this conversation, our mind goes through and has to look for evidence of this working.
You know what he just did? He's right. You know what that's a mirror of? Proof of concept.
Correct. Exactly.
I say that all the time. He's right. Proof of concept equals evidence.
Correct.
I think that's a lesson. I'm taking that with me.
Mm-hmm.
As Matt just brought that to me. Because then you're like, I knew I shouldn't have.
Right.
Blah, blah, blah. And then let me show you how this works backwards, okay? Let me show you how that works backwards. Because, like, let's say I was like, okay, well, I can make $20,000 a month by myself. And then you go, I should go back to doing the thing I was doing. You know what? I should go back to doing the thing I was doing. I should go back to doing whatever's over there. I should entertain doing this thing over here. And the reason why this is vital, 911, super important, is for this exact reason. Because the second that you give yourself proof, you know what else comes in? Justification. Let me tell you how this works in like a relationship, an intimate relationship, okay? So for the person who's listening from an intimate relationship, I'm flashing you over here. Oh my gosh, I'm flashing you. Nobody ain't giving me no money. Oh, let me pull down my shirt right quick. I'm not playing with you children. I'm grown now. I'm grown these days. I got a 20-year-old daughter. I'm grown in these streets. Okay. So now that I have my sophisticated stance, let me show you how this works the other way. I'm going to use this to marriage. And I'm going to use myself as an example because you have a relationship that you're intimate with, and you have either something about the person or a way that you and the other person interact, or something that happens inside of your intimate relationship. And then you're like, you know what? I'm not even going to bother because that's just the way he is. Like, as a woman's standpoint, that's just the way they are. I'm not even going to bother anymore. So you leave that part out. You don't address the thing. You don't talk about it. You don't get deep and down because it ends up in a fight. It ends up in an argument. It doesn't go well, blah, 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 blah. But what you don't know is on the other end of your willingness to go back and do Matt's process, this process that we're talking about called the review, you actually can't get the win. So you discard that part. You're like, I'm not going there anymore. I'm going to leave that alone. So now you're operating in your marriage, in your intimate relationship, even in your team relationships at 48%. The thing that I think I appreciate the most in all of the relationships that I have today is that I don't do that. I remember a point in my own marriage in which I started saying to myself, it's impossible. I'm not even going to touch that. I'm not even going to walk into that. And it's not, and I want to be clear that it wasn't something that was crippling me, but it was definitely a place in which I was like, well, I operate out of 5. I want a 5 response. And when I brought that to the table in my marriage, it was like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And so most people, marriages, has anyone ever been in a relationship like that? I don't mean intimate, because Matt and I have a relationship, and that's it. And Matt and I have an intimate relationship. Like, it's just not just about marriage. Have you ever been in a relationship like that where you just leave something alone? If I just left it alone, then I would never get to, like, we can't get closer.
Right.
And I'm sure Matt would tell you, like, the way I feel, we've gotten closer as humans in the last year.
Yeah.
In the last 2 years. Matt and I have known each other for almost 7 years now.
That's crazy.
It's crazy, but it's 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
The truth, though, is that it takes a place in yourself where even if one person's like, oh, well, I'm not going to touch it, I'm not going there, for the other person to go, no, but what is it? What are we talking about? What's here?
Right. But, and that goes to just a relationship is a relay.
Uh-oh.
So if you're in a relationship and you're the only person that's making an effort, that's not a relationship. That's a relay, is back and forth. Relationship. Relay. Just like in tennis, like in volleyball. You're going back and forth, back and forth. It's a relay. And if you're the only person that's giving, or you're the only person that's wanting to make it better, then that's not a real relationship.
That's not a real relationship. And more importantly, it's not a real relationship.
Mm-hmm. Period.
Let me see how Tito's doing. Let me just talk to that. If you're still here, can you just put an emoji in the chat? If you could just give us an emoji about how that landed for you, how that made you feel. Like, I'm going to tell you, even I'm sitting here thinking to myself how true that is. That we're like, oh, you know what? I'm not going to fool with that anymore. So then we leave it alone and we say, I'm not going to deal with it, but not dealing with it doesn't allow us to actually make it.
Correct.
Because if I just came back, like let's say I came back to work, I left Friday, I came back Monday, and I was like, you know what? Okay, great. Well, let's just chuck it up. Chuck it off. We're gonna
Right.
do better. All this stuff.
It hasn't solved the problem.
It hasn't solved the problem, but it also hasn't. You don't get the communication that you need. This is true to like customers, clients, friends, relationships. Like everybody needs to know that everybody's all in. I think that the all in factor is the most important tool that everybody has right now that they just don't use. To let the other person that they're in a relationship with know I'm all in. Because it goes deeper. You know what I'm saying? Because it goes deeper and bigger than anything else. Like think about you.
Right.
If I hadn't shown you at least a handful of times, listen, I am trying my damnedest to figure this thing out. I am all in here.
You know, as you're talking about that and you're saying that, we are in so many conditional relationships.
Say that.
I'm going to do this for you, or I'm going to show up 100% if ...
Conditional relationships
versus a unconditional. I'm going to give you no matter what. Like love. Parents play takeaway love all the time. If you do this, I'm going to give you this. If you do this, then this will happen.
Conditional relationships. They are the problem. I'm going to say this right now. I want everyone to hear me. Conditional relationships are the problem. There's one thing that I've learned in the last 2 years of building a new business and a skill that I don't think I have, in me conquering my personal journey with my family, in me addressing the fact that I've been diagnosed with a disease that doesn't have a cure, and me having to had drawn the lines, all of them. It's conditional relationships that I've let go of at 100%. The only conditional relationships I probably have are like with our landlords.
Right.
I'm serious. And I mean in those, and I say landlords maybe in business or like tools and software. I just made a decision to let go of all conditional relationships, which was hardest for me ever. Like they were hard for me because I didn't have a replacement for the gap.
But when we think that sometimes we have to fill those.
We're like, we got to fill the gap.
Right.
I can't be without the thing. I can't be without the person. They've been taking care of my business for 48 years.
And what's funny is that in our prayers and our silence, we're like, hey, God, please get me this. Give me this. And we're asking for more, but yet we don't have space for the more.
We're asking for more, but we don't have space for the more.
So if our hands are full with a bunch of crap, of things that don't serve us, and yet we're putting our hands out and saying, I want more.
Or service at 20%.
Or service, yeah.
Because it's not even about serving at 0.
Right.
There are things right now that serve you at 48%.
Right.
I eat McDonald's and I'm full. Let's just take a moment of silence for that.
Just said McDonald's.
You weren't ready for that. I saw your face get completely dropped. You were like, wait a second.
I almost had to walk out of the studio.
I saw you. I was like, Matt, stay, please stay. Matt, please stay, please stay. It's like you get full off of McDonald's.
You do. And then you also get the runs.
And
then you get diarrhea. No, listen,
say that.
It's what you're putting in your body.
Listen, you can't say that. There are people who get full, live their best lives with McDonald's. I know of about 2 people who eat McDonald's about 3 times a week. And they're grown adults with families and live clean houses and everything. Not like, I don't want you to think it's the others. We're not going to talk about who the others are because y'all are ready for me to talk about others. But it's not the others. These are legit people who like, they wear a belt with their pants. You get it? Like they iron their shirt. And then they're like, oh, 5 o'clock. Like this, watch. Watch. And they doing all of that to get to the McDonald's line. I'm dead serious. Let me tell you something.
Name of the Father.
Let me tell you something. You know, one of the people that I let go of in my life that you know very well. It's funny how you know that you know something, but you don't acknowledge something. There was a point in our relationship that I knew he constantly ate fast food like that.
Mhm.
But not like sometimes, like 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, dinner next morning,
Mhm.
Hardee's, Arby's, Carl's Jr., Jack in
Yikes.
the Box, McDonald's. And I remember saying to myself one time, I was like, how can you sustain that? That's so not me. That was it.
Mhm.
It wasn't even about like, that's gross or I'm not going to do that. But part of my reevaluation process was going, that's not me.
Right.
And I remember saying to myself, and again, my point, I'm going to get to my point in a moment. There are some things that you need to let go, but you let them go if you want the change.
Correct.
If the situation, thing, or the person changes, there's growth because there's growth. It's not changing because Cinderella's grandmother came along and did the thing. You get it? Like it's growth.
Grandmother? Wait, I thought it was fairy godmother.
Listen, you asked too many damn questions.
It's fairy godmother. Come on, listen.
That is my favorite cartoon on the planet. That's my favorite Disney movie on the planet. I
Okay.
get asked every year, what's your favorite Disney? Cinderella.
Cinderella. You know what's funny is we hold on to seasonal or we hold on to relationships that are designed for either a reason or a season, and we try to hold on to them as a lifetime relationship.
Oh my God.
When you think about relationships,
wait. Hold on. If you had to adjust yourself, can you just put I just got adjusted in the chat? No. Hold on. Let me adjust myself. No. I need to adjust myself.
All right.
We are holding on to them past their expiration date.
Yep. So if you think about a relationship, there is a relationship for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. A lifetime are what we want. But the reality is a lifetime relationship, there's maybe only 1, 2, 3, or 4 people that would fit into that category.
A lifetime relationship, there's only 2 or 3 people that fit into that place.
There is.
Matt just not? Hold on, Matt. Hold on. You moving too fast through this conversation. You moving too damn fast through this. Didn't you hear what he just said? Sir.
The lifetime relationship, although it requires work, it's still comfortable. I know who you are. I know how you're going to show up. I know you're going to be my ride or die. I know you're going to be the one that's going to eat ice cream with me if I need to. Like
that's lifetime.
That's lifetime. They're there all the time. And they're the unconditional relationship. They're going to be the person that's going to love you even in your ugly. Unconditional love is love me through my ugly. Love me through the moments that I'm hard to deal with. Love me through the moments when I don't see my own greatness. But you're going to remind me of that. Your lifetime relationship is that unconditional space. The next relationship is your reason. Or your seasonal. They're there for a season. A season may be a year. A season may be 15 years.
Matt's going to make me cry.
But they're part of their season.
Matt's so right. His man is so right.
And the struggle that we have is identifying who is this person. Are they a season in my life or are they a lifetime? Or was this person in my life for a reason, a lesson, a learning?
Even as Matt's talking right now, if this resonates with you, please let me know. And if you haven't liked this wherever you are, can you please just like it? I am determined to produce Tequila with Tiffany for the rest of the year. And I'm going to use this platform so that way it's accessible to everybody at no charge. And because what I'm teaching and what Matt just taught, this is not coming from like, just happy moments or good or bad moments. This is caulking through like $100,000 in a problem to $400,000 and making the wrong move. This is like the information that you can't get. What Matt just did, Matt, what you just did was really important. He gave us knowledge that we all know, right? Like we've heard the word ride or die and all these other things, but he really separated ride or die, seasonals, and all of the above. And as I think about it, not even think about it, as I feel through it, I'm like, it's funny. Matt is a ride or die for me.
Mm-hmm.
He is a ride or die. And the truth is that I've never slept over his house. But I knew that if I called him and I was like, Matt, I really need to come to your house and I need to sleep in your bed, Matt would be like, I'll be home around 8, maybe 8:30. I'm out right now.
I'd say pick up some ice cream along the way.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. But my point in highlighting that is that without the reevaluation thing, you can't do that. You can't know what that is or where that is. It changes everything about what I do, how I build, what I say, how I operate in my life, knowing that fact.
Right.
Because even like today, it's not even about like, oh, this is wrong or right. It's like, okay, great, got it. Now I need to chess. I need to play chess and juggle at the same time, because I'm like, I got this fact. But because Matt's a ride or die, it makes the fact like, it makes the fact the most important thing. Like, you need the facts. The reevaluation process allows you to have the facts. But it's not just about facts, about data and numbers and stuff like that. It's also about the things and people you care about.
Right. Like, I invite everybody to really start looking at your relationships and really determine, is this a reason? Is this person here for a season, or are they a lifetime? The sooner that you can make a decision and determine how somebody is, the more clarity you have on how you're going to engage them. Because you're also not going to let the person that is a reason determine how you're going to live your entire lifetime. Like, knowing who they are and what role they play in your life gives you clarity on how you're going to build that relationship or how much time you're going to invest in it.
It gives you clarity on how you're going to build the relationship or how much time you're going to invest in it. I put a lot of time into building my relationship with Matt. But it's not about the now. That's not why I do it. I think it's because it's for the forevers. I think that me making a decision around who and what is a ride or die, and sometimes you're looking for your ride or dies to be at your capacity or at your level. It's not like that. It's soul driven. Like, ride or dies are not, they're soul driven. And it is one thing for me to say that it's going to be people who are just like me. But every time I get into a room, I'm going to tell you, before like 8 years ago, when I started teaching and speaking, I would get into all these rooms with all these millionaires, multi-billionaires, all this stuff. People who had these big coaching programs, then people who had huge brick and mortar businesses, and I would be there. But I'm going to tell you the truth. 9 out of 10 times, I can remember 4 or 5 specific situations where I was in the room alone, and I knew that I was alone, even though there were 200 people deep, simply because none of the people shared my values. So it's like, yes, we are all peers on paper. Yes, great. $8 million. Woohoo. $500. Woohoo. Yes, exciting. But we don't share the same heart. You will never understand me. Me sifting through that feeling and that truth is what has allowed me to do the damn thing, is what has allowed me to build everything that I touched today. Because I stopped, because, when you, in the industry that I walked into, so I left a 7-figure business in 2014. I sold my company. I walk into the coaching industry, the personal development industry, 2015. I don't know shit about I don't know nothing about what I'm doing, right? So I walk into this industry. I'm walking knee deep. I'm really pussyfooting around because I don't know anything. I don't know anybody. And I actually don't get it. It's only about 1.5 years, 2 years later that I start to not get it, but I definitely understand, because I'm a businesswoman. I understand the name of the game. I get it. We're selling hope, false hope, $4. Got it. Understood. We're selling false hope or some form of it for dollars. Understood. But then it wasn't until I started getting invited into these rooms with people who I was like, oh my gosh, not only do you not get me, I don't understand you. I don't get you. We don't understand each other. We are not the same. And I really began to feel a level of frustration or anger or disconnect. And I felt sick to my stomach because I was like, I don't feel like you people. I don't understand you people. I am not like you people. This reevaluation process was probably the most critical point, because I stopped looking for peers who were 7-figure business owners and brick and mortar. That was important. But first, I started hunting for people who shared my heart. That's why this whole idea around my story came up to be, because I was like, man, if I can get people who understand my heart, then I can sift through them, pull the people who match me revenue wise or any other way. I can get them to be closer to me. I can teach the others, but more importantly, whether I'm teaching from afar, teaching at a live event, teaching in person, I am surrounded by people who are like me. And I was like, I'll figure out the formula to my happiness. I'm sick and tired of quantifying us because we're all in the same industry. We're in personal development. We are healers. We are empaths. We are Black people. We are women. We are Christian. We are pretend Christian. We are any of all of the above. I got sick and tired of trying to qualify myself into those parameters. I was like, damn it, let me just go and find the humans in these streets. If I can just find the humans, I can get the humans. I'm going to qualify myself by being a human, getting my human card to their card and matching it with their heart. Boy, that is it. You know, I've appreciated this Tequila with Tiffany. I have. I think it's done. And I think it's delicious. And I think that we have ended this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's anything or anywhere else to go from here. Matt Gil totally crushed the game. The world needs to say thank you, Matt Gil.
Dun, 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 dun.
Dun, da, da, da.
It was good. You know, the thing is it's all part of our, like, these moments, this journey. It's part of what we're supposed to experience.
It's part of what we're supposed to experience.
You know, I was having a conversation the other day. I was actually having a conversation with myself. Let me say, let me just
drink to that.
Let me just say, and I was realizing that I am in the process of switching things that I miss or things that don't happen and reframing the feeling of lack. And I'll make it as simple as possible. I was watching, so here in Arizona, we have an amazing monsoon season. Yeah. We have the lightning, we have the thunder, we have rain. This year has been very different for us from what I'm talking like I've been here forever. This is only my second summer.
Listen, it's our year.
Right, right. But I was watching the lightning and I missed a really big one. I was like, oh God. And I got frustrated that I missed it because I was sitting on the patio and I wanted to catch all of them. Like, I want to see all of that. I want to see it all the way across the sky. And I stepped for a moment to do something and I missed the big bolt. I could see it in the corner of my eye and I was pissed off. And then another one I missed. And I kept missing these moments of the lightning because I would do something else. And I realized I had to reframe it because I felt the frustration. Really? I felt the damn it. Like, and I was like, wait a minute, that one wasn't meant for you. That lightning bolt wasn't meant for you.
It's only because you told yourself that you missed it.
Correct. I had to reframe my own story.
If you just got that lesson, can you just put wow, Matt, in the chat? I missed it, but that one wasn't meant for me. But your frustration, the negative.
I was feeding myself negative.
Because you could have been satisfied with the 38 you saw.
Correct.
And you missed the two big ones, thought you were supposed to have it and that it would enrich you or make you better.
And the truth is, I thought they were big ones. Yeah. I don't really know. My thought process, I see a flashlight. Oh, that was the big one. Where the reality is, I could have seen the big one.
Oh my gosh.
We have the power to reframe any situation. I'm in a place now where I ask myself, what am I supposed to learn? In our meetings here, there are times that you see me going like this. And I'm asking myself, what's the lesson? What am I supposed to learn? Because I don't want to come back here again. I don't like this feeling. I don't want to be here. I understand I'm going to be at a different level with new awareness, but I don't want to feel this again. So what's the lesson? What can I take from this moment of chaos, this moment of hurt?
Matt, I'm going to tell you, damn it, Matt, this entire Tequila with Tiffany may have just been for this moment.
What's the lesson?
Matt said, I need to repeat this for myself so that I have this. And this is for whoever else is wherever. Yes, you'll know who you are. Matt said that he was sitting on the patio. He was there the whole time and he was looking for lightning. He had been waiting for lightning, capturing it all. He wanted to take it all in, and it was good. He got up to refill his cup, to go to the bathroom, to put something on in the stove, change the wet clothes to the dry clothes. And somehow, in that millisecond of him getting up to start a process, out of the corner of his eye, he saw a big one, a big lightning. And then he disregarded the other hour he spent sitting and watching, focused on the negative of the 1 second that he thinks he didn't see that appeared to be the wow factor that was presented as the win, only to have himself say, okay, great. I missed the big one. And in me missing the big one, what I have to say is no longer valid. Let's pull this apart. Matt's on the patio. He already has a great time. He quantified a great time. He had a great experience. He enjoyed himself. It was amazing.
Yep.
He saw things. And then because of one instance, he disregarded the entire hour that he had been sitting looking at the lightning and then said he needed to have the big one. But here's the most important part for me, Matt. That big one wasn't for you.
Correct.
And so therefore you did not miss out.
Correct.
How do you really know it was the most valuable?
Yep.
What if it killed 4 people in the process right next to you that you knew or that was in relation to you? Then therefore it wouldn't have been valuable.
Correct.
We're looking at something and we're like, oh man, I missed it because I've been out. I was missing. I was such and such. And man, and then we feel bad in 1 second about the hour that was a whole win.
The whole experience, that one little millisecond, all of a sudden completely destroys the entire experience.
Oh my gosh. Matt, I think I'm done. That is it. You guys are welcome. Tequila with Tiffany on deck. Matt Gil, you yes, sir. I'm going to drink to that. Let me just get my little 2 cent kilos in here.
I'll send my invoice.
Did you understand the gravity of that, anybody? I just want to know if you listen to this on replay, like I just need to know if you understand the gravity of this.
And the reality is that to your point of what you said at the beginning, God's not going to give you a vision and not give you the resources.
He's not going to give you a vision and not give you the resources.
He's not going to show you something that you can't have.
The end. That was so good, Matt Gil. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Tequila with Tiffany. Done.
Cheers.
Cheers.
See you guys next week.